Prepare to die. So goes the tagline of new action role-playing game Dark Souls. And they aren't kidding, you should prepare to die a lot. And by every horrific way possible. We've been beaten, stabbed, crushed, and burned. We've also braved our thumbs, our free time, and our sanity to bring you this review. Spiritual successor to From Software's previous title Demon's Souls, Dark Souls spits you out into a bleak world as an undead, locked away and left to rot. After you choose your class, be it knight, thief, wanderer, pyromancer, or other, you must fight your way out of the undead asylum and into the game's imposing open-world environment. From here, story is sparingly told. The world and the enemies found within it speak volumes on their own. Death and fire are your constant companions here. The first is always just around the next corner, a firm but mostly fair teacher that you must learn from or perish. The other is more elusive but allows you to rest, recuperate and level up before moving on to the next challenge. Trial and error and clever experimentation are keys to success in the gameplay of Dark Souls. If you charge full speed ahead, swinging your sword wildly, you certainly won't last long. Combat can often feel slow, but it's all about getting your timing just right. Feeling your way around an enemy's defenses, parrying their heavy blows and striking at precisely the right moment. For the bosses, it's about learning how the enemy reacts and using this knowledge against them, but taking your time to make every attack count. Though you'll be set upon by countless deadly demons here, it turns out that your worst enemy in this world will be your own impatience. Visually, Dark Souls has its highs and lows. As a whole, the game doesn't always look amazing. There are long periods of time spent in a dark dungeon surrounded by rather ugly textures. The upside to this is that when you finally reach the other side and see the sun once again, you breathe a very real sigh of relief and pleasure. Lighting effects are distractingly beautiful, particularly when you're standing on a lofty, safe platform enjoying a swift moment of respite. Equally pleasurable are the ever-increasingly and imaginatively grotesque enemies, though admittedly for very different reasons. As punishing as Dark Souls is, long stretches of grueling trial and error are punctuated by brief but glorious moments of triumph. Like our early encounter with a wyvern, the beast sat on the other end of a bridge we needed to cross, breathing fire at our approach. A tense standoff ensued. It made us second guess ourselves, contemplate going back the way we came, almost give up. It wasn't until we faced our fears and ran straight into the eye of the storm that we found the way ahead. Terrifying, thrilling, and deliciously devilish all at once. But here's what we didn't like about Dark Souls. Unsurprisingly, all those deaths can be massively frustrating, often feeling about as enjoyable as bashing your head repeatedly against a wall. Inching your way around an area, you can pass a full day playing with what feels like very little progress. There's challenging, and then there's just plain cruel. Also high on our list of niggles is the return of the ragdoll corpses from the first game. In an otherwise serious world, these can be hugely distracting. And here's what we loved. With a little persistence, you can overcome all odds and kill what initially seems completely and utterly unkillable. And that's an amazing feeling. Dark Souls constantly pushes you to look failure in the face and either improve and win, or get absolutely nowhere. When to simply defy the odds and survive is an achievement, the afterglow of a glorious defeat against a boss that had you on the run for days is worth the inevitable suffering, and it'll only spur you on to taste that feeling again. Dark Souls isn't a game to play to relax, much the opposite, but you should still play it regardless. When every enemy and every level you encounter could prove lethal at any moment, when every decision has real consequence and punishment, what you get is a title that you may not always enjoy, but you'll certainly always remember.